Yes. The tree on Bonzi Wells. The hoping is that the size of the tree will effectively show the inside field of Bonzi Wells. If he's so active on the grass, he's got the two at 16 guarding him. Let's see how he does it there. At least to do that on a 3-point line, we can actually see some hugs.
Foul on Bonzi Wells. And McKee will throw in. One of the best moves made by Isaiah Thomas in realigning his starting lineup was going with the two veterans, McKee and Perkins at the start. Derek McKee usually, because he is such an excellent defensive player, will go up against one of the offensive threats. In this case, it's Bonzi Wells. He just took Allen Houston out of the game in the Pacers' last contest this past Sunday at Madison Square Garden. He played 14 minutes, but he distorted Houston right at the start, and Allen never did get back into it from the perimeter. Nice tip. And it's a 6-0 Blazer lead. So Dale Davis getting a piece of that one.
You know, I mentioned Stoudemire on Miller, but it's not like you have a big choice here either. If you put him on Rose, one of those two is going to go down into the low post area. So who would you rather have shooting the perimeter shot?
Oh, the rejection by Davis. Stoudemire, 8-0 Portland, and Isaiah Thomas may be looking for a timeout.
But you might not leave. You're really happy with the way Bonzi Wells handled that situation. He could have pressed the issue. He could have tried to split the two defenders. Instead, he drew both defenders to him, then kicked it off to his open teammate.
Jermaine O'Neal. Isaiah got up off the bench very calmly, waving his hand at Jalen Rose. And then said, continue on. Pacers looked like they were about to call for time. It's an 8-0 Portland lead with 3 minutes gone by. Oh, Jermaine O'Neal with the first bucket of the night for Indiana.
An unusual fast break where you see your 6'10" small forward, or whatever you want to call him, power forward, depending on what. Bounce passing it 30 feet to your center, sprinting down the left side for a layup.
Here's Stacey Augmon, has done a good job in the starting lineup with Scottie Pippen sitting out. That's his first field goal, so 4 of the 5 Blazers are in the scorebook, and they've hit 5 of 7 from the field.
Because Augmon can be very particular what type of shot he wants to take. He's shooting over 52%.
Reggie Miller from downtown. Blazers 10, and the Pacers 5.
Reggie Miller out about 2 hours prior to the game to take his shooting, working with one of the assistant coaches, making sure he gets enough shots in from the areas that he favors in shooting the ball.
Part of the Reggie Miller ritual with Steve Wallace continuing the hot shooting by Portland. They now lead 12-5. The Pacers have been off for 3 days, coming off the win over the New York Knicks at Madison Square Garden on Sunday afternoon. With a break in the schedule, they had a very busy stretch. O'Neal, yes, and the foul. Rasheed Wallace picks up the personal.
When Jermaine O'Neal gets to the point that he makes that 18, 19-foot jump on a regular basis, this player is going to move to an even different level than he has already this year. Just moving into the starting lineup, getting the minutes that he's playing right now. We've seen his productivity. He's averaging almost 10 rebounds per game, double figures in scoring, ranked up there in shot blocks. His game is just growing, and he's just 22 years of age.
They spent 4 years with the Blazers. First-round draft pick right out of high school back in '96, acquired from Portland. And the deal for Dale Davis and Joe Klein. Davis off the fake. And here's Davis. Well, might Dudley be telling us, even if Sabonis were available and Arvidas sitting out with a back problem, he would have started Dale Davis because he feels he'll get lots of energy here back in Indianapolis from Dale.
Yeah, and the last game that Davis started, he gave him 16 points and 12 rebounds. So not a bad performance.
Perkins to the running hook. Portland up by 5. We've played 5 minutes and change. Miller over to help on Augment. Takes away the right hand. Now Stoudemire for 3. Rare miss by the Blazers. Portland has hit 7 out of 10 to the field. Perkins coming up short on that 3-point attempt, so the ball back to Portland. We mentioned at the top, Scottie Pippen placed on the injured list. He missed 8 of the previous 9 games with tendonitis in his right elbow and a chipped bone, and now he's considering surgery. In fact, not with a team, he's consulting with a specialist. Gave it a shot against Sacramento this past Saturday. Played 24 minutes with only 1 of 6 from the field for 2 points. Stoudemire called for 7.
And Mike Dunleavy makes a good point. And look, we're almost at the midpoint of the season right now. If it does need surgery, the elbow, then let's get it done right now. Let's not let it drag on another month and a half or 2 months. Then we're closing on the stretch run of the season, and then the playoffs are there, and suddenly I don't have it to use. So if we're going to lose them for 4, 5, 6 weeks, do it now. Get them right. Get them ready for the playoffs.
Now the Blazers also been very careful. They do not want to rush him back. McKee for 3. And McKee with the save, but an all-star last season as a member of the Pacers. Went through a bit of a down period several weeks back with the Trailblazers. Very unhappy about the lack of playing time, in particular on Christmas Day against the Lakers. They missed the practice. Mike Dunleavy took it out on him in terms of playing time. You see the numbers. He's playing almost the same amount of minutes as he did with Indiana, but not as much in the flow with Portland.
It's a different situation. It's a different time in his career. If he had that situation to do over again that you mentioned when he missed the practice, I'm sure he would realize, as Rasheed Wallace gets another jumper facing up, he realized that that was a mistake. But it's a very competitive guy who is used to starting, being in the starting lineup. And that particular day, the reasons that he didn't play a lot of minutes were that Shawn Kemp came off the bench as a center, backing up Sabonis, was hitting the outside jump shot. They were winning the game against the Lakers. And bottom line, that's what you're supposed to do, is win. And I think Dale Davis realizes that if he had to do it over again, things wouldn't turn out the way they did.
5 minutes to go in this opening quarter, and the Blazers have a 16-9 lead. Bonzi Wells. Now for Bonzi, his first field goal. Bonzi Wells had a season high 27 points in the earlier meeting, January 3rd, in Portland. Last year here in Indianapolis, a career-high 29 against his hometown team, the Pacers. Nice look from McKee, but Perkins came up short.
And Sam thought he was going to get the foul with his body contact. Instead, the defensive player just backed off, and Sam was a little short with that layup.
Foul called on Jalen Rose for a push. And Isaiah Thomas going with 3 substitutions. Travis Best, Austin Crozier, and Al Harrington coming on for Derek McKee, Perkins, and Jermaine O'Neal. Al Harrington has been playing so well recently. 3 games back against the Clippers, came up with his first career double-double. He has been a factor in the improved play by Indiana.
Interesting, when we talked to Isaiah, we asked him, why did it take him in 104 games?
Well, the basket count, it's a 3 for Stoudemire plus a whistle. The officials checking with each other. Apparently, the basket will count, and a foul is called on Wells. So Stoudemire hits the 3, and Wells picks up his second foul.
Going back to Al Harrington, as we were saying, in 104 games in the league that he had played, one time had he reached more than 10 rebounds in a game. Yet in 4 out of the last 5 games, he's had 10 or more rebounds. So Isaiah said it was simple why it happened. The reason being, I told him if he wanted minutes on the floor, stay active, give us more rebounding, play good defense, and I'll put you on the floor more minutes. So he certainly listened to it.
That was a talk that Isaiah had along with Austin Crozier, who said, hey, you want to stay on the floor, do all the other things, which he has been doing. Here's Harrington on the drive. He's rejected and fouled. Al Harrington, very active, adds energy to the club, so Pacers like to see him coming in off the bench, usually somewhere in the first quarter. Meanwhile, off the bench for Portland, Steve Smith for Bonzi Wells, who has picked up a second foul. And right here, we'll take a look at always an exciting moment tonight's stat track.
Well, Pacers 4-0 in their last 4 games, and he's off. They have out-rebounded their opponents by over 8 each game, and holding opposition was 37% shooting. So we'll see tonight against a very big Portland team, and by the way, the 3rd best shooting team in the NBA 12, and if they can hold to those percentage.
You know, that's the first stat track that has made any sense. Would you have helped with that?
I think they have that responsibility.
The staff came up with it. It was not yours. That's the first time we've seen a stat track of significance. Producer Jay Hoover and director Gary Lehman responsible. Obviously not even asking you to come up with numbers anymore.
That is not true. I wish they could be out here speaking for themselves sometimes.
Coming up on 3 minutes remaining in the first. Blazers 21, Pacers 11. Here's the double on Wallace. Steve Smith is open for 3. Travis Best. Austin Crozier. And the call against the Pacers. Offensive foul on Crozier.
Dale Davis made a nice rotation. He was there the entire time. The minute that Crozier picked up his dribble, he was looking to shoot, instead wound up being a passer and picked up the offensive foul as well.
And Portland off to the 10-point lead. Al Harrington, who will celebrate his 21st birthday on February the 17th, has really picked up his play. It's been a coming-out party recently for Al Harrington.
Isaiah said that when I got the job and went back and looked at all the tapes from way back before his back injury a year ago, he was one of the best players on the floor for the Pacers, and now that he's gotten past that point of recovering from the back injury, he's earning his minutes on the floor.
Wallace trying to post on Harrington and threw it out. Nice ball movement. Dale Davis with 6 points.
Well, by Portland going immediately to the low post, they've got Indiana tracking back right now, and they're pitching in halfway in their rotation, moving the ball more quickly than the defensive bodies can move, and they're winding up with very high percentage shots.
Here's Miller on a quick release for 3, his second from downtown. A couple of major tests coming up for the Indiana Pacers. Tonight's game with Portland Sunday afternoon. They're home for the Philadelphia 76ers. Play at Orlando, back home to Boston and Denver. Crozier trying to get to it. Stripped by Smith. Stoudemire. Damon Stoudemire extends the Portland lead, and the Blazers shooting has been sensational. They're 12 of 18 from the field. Stoudemire with 9 points. Here's Crozier. Austin Crozier. And the Blazers now lead 25-16 with a minute and a half to go in the first. Arm Albert with Lazar, Mike Marcello, Cheryl Miller from Conseco Fieldhouse. Stacey Augmon.
Sure that Indiana wouldn't mind seeing Augmon at that range shooting that shot on a regular basis.
Oh, pretty move by Best. Travis Best able to break it down for his first field goal. 25-18 Portland.
Best in the last 10 games is averaging almost 30 minutes a game. That's how well he's been playing for this team.
Under a minute left in this first quarter. Wallace. Not seeing the same kind of defense on the part of the Pacers that we saw in the last 4 games. A lot of open shots for Portland. Stoudemire got the pick. Illegal pick is the call. Foul on Steve Smith.
Well, Mike Dunleavy was up, and Steve Smith is arguing that it was his own player that knocked him off. And here we see Miller trying to front Steve Smith. And what the official is saying is Steve Smith hooked Reggie's arm right there. That's where the foul was called.
Blazers 27, Pacers 18. 7-second differential between the shot clock and the game clock, and an offensive foul is called. Foul on Harrington.
Defensive player tried to go over the top or shoot the gap that time, and as the screener stepped up and moved into his pass, that's where the offensive foul was called.
No, he doesn't. He takes a step. He takes a step over.
You can hear the discussion between Indiana coach Isaiah Thomas and Terry Durham, one of the officials, interpreting that last foul.
Terry Durham said the same thing I said. He took his test, got into the path of the defender coming over the top, and it's an offensive foul.
I don't think so. Greg Anthony has stepped in for the first time. Greg coming off a superb game. 24 minutes off the bench against Chicago, 6 of 11 from the field. Final second of the first quarter. Best hit by Stoudemire, and nearly was able to bank it for the three.
And I have to disagree with that call. I mean, Stoudemire had his position right there. If anything, the call should be travel, give the ball back to them going the other way. But there's Stoudemire is there. Best is the one really that initiated the contact by stepping or try to step through him to get the shot off right there.
So with 1.2 remaining in the first quarter, Best, an 84% free throw shooter, will shoot 3.
The official could say that Stoudemire didn't give him a step. When you have your head turned looking backwards and you catch the ball, they want you to allow him one step. But he had, in my opinion, more than just one step.
Certainly a two-shot foul before the shot attempt was the interpretation. And that will not count. So, after one, it's the one-time Indiana Pacer, Dale Davis, 3 for 3 from the field, contributing to the 27-19 Portland lead.
Well, he is the leading offensive rebounder for the Blazers as he tips one in, and he shows you he's got a little short-range jump shot at the defensive end. Still has the ability to time and get a block shot, and then by moving the ball against the trapping Pacers defense, he finishes with the dunk. 11 minutes, 3 for 3 to score, 6 points, 2 rebounds for Dale Davis.
Dale sitting it out here at the start of the second quarter. Sean Kemp making his first appearance for Portland. Greg Anthony now at the point. You mentioned the good game Anthony had the other night against Chicago. 5 of 7 from downtown, all in the second half. Anthony being played by Best. Anthony and Smith in the backcourt. Wallace up front with Kemp. Head off, and here's Wallace. Friendly rim for Rasheed, who has 10 points. He's 5 of 7 for the field. And Miller in the backcourt with Rozier and Harrington up front. Rozier with room. Kemp gets ahead of the field. It counts. And the foul. How about Sean Kemp breaking down court to beat the Pacers?
Kemp was closing out on the jump shooter, and as he challenged the shot, he continues to run right past it. Smith almost gives up, but then realizes, don't hold the ball, let me get it out in front. Kemp is there. The nice catch and finish by Sean Kemp.
Foul on Crozier, his second.
May I ask you a question?
Yes.
Could the second unit of the Blazer team qualify in the Eastern Conference playoffs?
Well, Altman, including Altman, is going to start it.
Let's take someone else off.
Well, they have Rasheed Wallace out there, too, so it's...
I didn't say this unit. I said the second unit.
Second unit.
Yes, that's what I said.
I see. Second unit with his pass. Deflected away and knocked out of bounds. So we're talking, you put Steve Smith on the second unit with Greg Anthony.
Sean Kemp.
Sean Kemp.
Dale Davis.
Yeah.
And whoever you want as the fifth player on that unit off the bench for them.
I think
Not bad.
would have an excellent shot.
Not bad.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. You wouldn't mind coaching that ball.
This is a team that has, remember, 3 former Olympians, 5 former All-Stars, member of the 50 greatest players, former Rookie of the Year. Not a bad group.
Foul is called on Jeff Foster. Checked in. Jeff Foster did not play in the previous game against the Knicks. Had an exceptional second quarter against Atlanta last week in 7 minutes, 4.6 rebounds, but has been seeing sporadic duty. Foster defending on Kemp, will go baseline. A nice pass. Sets it up for Davis, who's fouled by O'Neal.
Excellent pass that time. Kemp was pinned behind the backboard, took 2 defenders, and wound up finding his teammate right in the middle of the lane with his hands ready. Kemp loves to go baseline. There he goes past the first defender. O'Neal waiting for him. Nice drop off. As he tries to finish, O'Neal makes sure he's not going to get the easy layup.
Foul on O'Neal, his first. So Dale Davis with point number 7. Reminder, coming up next, right here on TNT, the second of our doubleheader, the Spurs and the Kings. Sacramento Kings in a battle for the top spot in the West. Portland leads the Western Conference. They're a half game over Sacramento, but they are 13 percentage points behind. That's a good matchup. Spurs and Kings coming up next. Right here. And a palming violation is called.
To let that ball come to rest on that high dribble, the officials are going to call it. It's been a point of emphasis the last couple of seasons.
Shaky start for Isaiah Thomas's Indiana Pacers. Looking lethargic here in the first half. Blazers have their biggest lead of the night. They're up by 14. 6-0 run to get things going here in the second. Smith with the step. Anthony. Yes, that's a 2-pointer for Greg Anthony.
When you mentioned the Blazers, rather than the Pacers looking a little lethargic, timing is so important in this league. When you play, how often do you play? Their last game was Sunday at New York. They haven't played since then, so it's taking them a while to get going here.
But, you know, the coaches can't have it both ways. Either the complaints that it's back-to-back, too many games, or...
You're right. You search for practice days, opportunities to work and get better and improve on areas that when you're off for too many days, you say, well, we're out of our rhythm right now. It's a fine line.
Davis angling his way in, trying to draw the foul. He thought he was fouled. Jermaine O'Neal with a strong move and foul from behind. Baldwin came over. Call for the foul.
You had the baseline official who saw the clean block part of it. He signaled that it was a clean block. Yet the official in the slot saw the body contact, called the foul on that. From behind, Altman gets the piece. Foul is called over by the slot official who felt it was body contact.
Jermaine O'Neal has been consistent at the line. He's 62% for the season. Jermaine O'Neal last week was a question mark going into a couple of games with a sprained left ankle, but still played his usual 35 minutes. See the numbers over the last 10 games. He really broke through on that 6-game road trip with Indiana splitting the 6 over a 10-day period. They won in Seattle, in Sacramento, won against the Clippers in L.A., and played well in losing at Portland, Phoenix, and Utah. Anthony for 3. Good hustle by Harrington. Now Harrington fires it down intended for Travis Best. And it will be Portland ball. Timeout is called. 8:47 remaining in this first half. Blazers up by 14.
First meeting of the year between the Magic and the Timberwolves. Watch LaFonso Ellis get a hand in the way of that pass. He nearly carries, walks the tightrope, nearly walks, and then dunks. LaFonso Ellis 8 points in the first quarter for Minnesota. And it's a 40-34 game in the second period. Orlando, by the way, has played 3 consecutive overtime games. They trail by 6 in the second period. Let's get back to Conseco, to Marv Albert, and Radar.
Radar.
Getting to be a habit.
What is that? Oh, that's tied into the stat track, apparently. I see. Is that what it is?
No, it's not.
So it has something to do with TV trivia.
Obviously being influenced by Kenny and Charles.
Is that a negative connotation?
Take it any way you want.
Don't mind that.
What if he calls you right on?
Okay. All right, here's Davis, met by O'Neal. Shot clock at 6. Davis very active offensively. It counts. And the foul. Dale Davis with a strong first half against his former team. 4 out of 5, 9 points.
Get the shot blocker up in the air by showing the ball. He goes by O'Neal, and there at the end, the next defensive player, Foster, trying to move in on a rotation. Call for the block. Ball rolls in. Opportunity for a three-point play now for Dale Davis.
Dale Davis averaging only 7 points per game coming into tonight, and now looking to complete the three-point play.
Notice how he switched over, gave it a lefty underhand hook off the glass.
So Portland with its biggest lead up by 16. Jalen Rose has been quiet, has not attempted a shot until now. The tip was missed by Foster. Anthony open for 3. And here's Rose with Anthony back. Harrington ahead of the field. Rose can't find him on the angle. And a foul is called against the Blazers. Foul committed by Smith. That's his second.
When Rose looked up, he saw one defensive player back to Portland. He shifted to the next gear, tried to beat the rest of the Blazers back on defensive transition, but that time good hustle, the foul taken, no fast break opportunity to take the ball.
Reggie Miller coming on for Jalen Rose, who has been very quiet. Saw his first shot attempt. Not been able to get into it. Reggie Miller's hit a couple from downtown. Jeff Foster getting the playing time here in the second quarter and has it poked away. Nice play by Sean Kemp. Jeff Foster started 8 games back in December, had a career-high 14 rebounds late in the month. Done a nice job here off the boards. 5 rebounds in 3 minutes of playing time. O'Neal with the shot clock running down. That's 8 points for the one-time Blazers.
Well, Foster is one of those young guys that make the future look so bright for this Pacers organization. Because they lost Rick Smith, and Davis has moved on now to the opponent here. They have a real bright future when you look at the development of these young guys.
Bonzi Wells on the offensive foul. That's 3 in a hurry, so Bonzi will head right back to the bench.
Sometimes you try and do a little bit too much. You get a little bit too excited when you come back to your hometown area. Just the arm going out a little bit. Nice job of acting right there. Combined with it, puts Bonzi on the bench with 3.
Jermaine O'Neal rejected by Dale Davis. Davis and Kent defending on O'Neal. There's Anthony stripped. Jump ball is called.
Mike Dunleavy said this matchup of me putting Davis on O'Neal is going to show something. It's going to show me a guy trying to step up, trying to take a challenge, and certainly we see Dale Davis elevate at the right time. Timing is perfect that time to reject the inside attempt by O'Neal. Both guys have a challenge here tonight because they have switched uniforms basically.
Terry Durham trying to get the lineup correct. Does not want any player to be able to receive an edge, and ask Steve Smith to step back. Augment and Best on the tip. And Smith with room. Steve Smith getting the playing time here tonight with Bonzi Wells picking up a 3rd foul.
Normally, you wouldn't expect O'Neal to be guarding Smith, but off the jump ball situation. An offensive foul called that time on Harrington as he tried to post up Steve Smith. And normally, a big guy running out at a shooter like Smith doesn't want to come out too hard, too fast, afraid that they'll go by him off the dribble. But if a guy who shoots it that well, you must close out on him.
Portland Trailblazers playing their 25th road game. That's 15-9. Played a lot of games. The 45th game of the season. The block by O'Neal. Smith able to retrieve. Pacers at 20 and 21. They've won 4 in a row, 7 of their last 10 games. Trying to improve on the home record, only 11 and 7 here at the Fieldhouse. Foster has a baseline close. Shot clock at 3. Miller, yes. Reggie Miller. So the Pacers now trail by 14. Smith feeling for Harrington. Goes to the hook shot and hits.
You don't see very many of those very often.
Blazers 41, Pacers 25. Nice to see that every so often. Good shot to take because it's tough to block. All right, here comes Anthony. Red looking for the three-point shot off the 5 from downtown the other night. Davis with the fake. Brown wanted a double dribble. He thought he had stopped the dribble and then dropped the ball again. Shot clock at 3. Kemp fires. And a break. A break for Portland. Would have been a 24-second violation. Instead deflected out.
Brought to you by Daytech Online. Believe it or not, all online brokers are not the same. Daytech Online, built to trade. And by 1-800-CALL-ATT for collect calls.
Well, the Blazers and the Pacers arguing the call as the official said, no, this last shot by Kemp raised the rim. Looked like it just didn't nip it, which was then deflected out of bounds by Indiana. So Portland maintains possession.
You just think of the officials who just stop it and run it back and stop it and run it back and stop it and run it back.
Took a while for us to be able to ascertain.
Took a while for you.
No, you were saying it did not hit the rim. Now,
Suddenly it's us. Now it's us.
What
Okay.
did you think it hit the rim?
I thought that it missed the rim.
It did.
Well, you asked me if I thought.
It grazed the rim. You could see it.
I think you asked me what I thought it missed the rim.
Coming up, 5 minutes to go in this first half. Uncontested. Steve Smith going right down the lane.
You ask me a question, you get mad if I give you my answer.
Well, you changed direction so many times. I mean, come up with an opinion. Our best off the back tap. Here comes Anthony. And an offensive foul is called.
Stacey Augmon tried to pin Reggie Miller deep into the yellow paint area of the lane, and as he turned, they got him on his back. That elbow came up high into Reggie's throat. Offensive foul ball.
Augmon called for his second. Travis Best. Reggie Miller in the backcourt. Jalen Rose now to the forward spot. Up front was Al Harrington, Jeff Foster. Harrington sets the pick. And here's Best to the rim. Foster with another rebound. And they get the new 24. Oh, he gave Miller the ball in an impossible position. Damon Stoudemire just checked back in. Dale Davis calls for step.
Dale wanted to overpower the much smaller opponent so much that he got too carried away, shuffled the feet, took away a sure layup.
Let's take another look at it. Here's that shot by Kemp. You call it. It just nipped. You could see it hit the left side of the rim. You watched it 6 times during the commercial break. You had 6 different opinions. Here's Rose. The tip by Foster. And the Blazers now lead 43 to 27.
Yes, you just told me to watch it, you call it, and then you...
No, but
you jumped right in before I could call it.
You had no opinion. Get in. Zip. You know, I can understand what Ernie's been talking about this past couple of months. Mark Best. Travis Best. Did that hit the rim?
Yes, that did hit the rim.
Blazers lead 43-29.
You okay?
Just under 3 to go in this first half. Jeff Foster getting a long run. Isaiah Thomas starting Derek McKee and Sam Perkins. We have not seen much of either after the first quarter, midway through the first quarter. And the Blazers shooting has been red hot. They're now up 45 to 29. They're 58% for the half.
Let's go back to that stat track with your opponents with 37% shooting in their last 4 games, all wins. And you can see that obviously Portland is destroying that percentage right now.
Reggie Miller, though, has a touch. 4 out of 5. He has 10 points. So the Blazers lead 45-31. Wallace for 3.
Time on the shot clock. They still have 7 and 8 seconds remaining when Wallace got the ball out well beyond the 3-point line. He has time for one more pass.
Jalen Rose with his first field goal. Indiana now down by 12, and the crowd suddenly into it. It's been very quiet there in the first half. They're on their feet at Conseco Fieldhouse. Altman with Rose. And a loose ball foul against the Pacers.
You can see what Portland did. They moved Smith to the top of the circle. That time they had Augman opposite so they could get Smith with that initial shot on the pass out from the double team.
Dallas, by the way. Dirk Nowitzki. Kenny, what do you call this move to the hoop?
He's so ridiculous. I like ridiculous. I'm going with that one, Ernie.
I like it, too. I wonder if Radar likes it. It's 65-39, the Mavs with the lead late in the second.
And he's rubbing off on me. That's right. He is rubbing off.
All right, thanks, guys.
I won't get an opportunity to comment on that because Marv obviously will once again jump in, Ernie, but I thought that was kind of cute.
Cute. That's what we're aiming for.
45-33 lead on Indiana. Sean Kemp played well at a short stint. Dale Davis has done the job back here in Indianapolis. 9 points, 3 rebounds, an assist, a steal. Rasheed Wallace, the high point man, with 10, leading Portland. Reggie Miller, 4 out of 5 from the field. He has 10. So Bonzi Wells back home, played his college ball at Muncie at Ball State. But in foul trouble, picked up 3 and has not seen much activity in this first half. And coming up on the AT&T halftime report, we'll hear from Ernie and Kenny and Charles on scores and highlights from around the NBA. A minute 26 to go in this first half. Portland Trail Blazers have 31-13, most wins in the Western Conference. Philadelphia leads the NBA with 32 victories last night. Philly winning in Houston in overtime. Their 12th straight road win. They're 32-10. Shot clock is at 5. Rose. So 1 minute left in the half as Damon Stoudemire sets it up. Damon Stoudemire, favorite of Isaiah Thomas when Isaiah was an executive with the Toronto Raptors. I can recall as Davis called the foul. I can recall what we were talking about earlier with Isaiah. He felt it was very important for his Raptor players to attend the NBA Finals. It was actually a requirement. They'd have to go to at least 1 game of the NBA Finals. And I remember Isaiah shepherding a young Damon Stoudemire around at the Finals in his first couple of years with Toronto. He wanted them to get a feel for what it's like to play in the championship series.
He actually had to put into each player's contract that they had to go to one of those NBA final games. It was so that they would get the atmosphere that's created when you reach that ultimate point of playing for the NBA championship. He had been there. He knew how much it meant to him, and obviously wanted to pass it on to the youngsters. It's a long-range goal for that franchise organization when he first got up there to let them see what it's like when you do get there.
Sam Perkins is back. So the Pacers foul is called. Foul on the Blazers. That's the second on Stoudemire.
First of the final 2 minutes on Portland.
And for the Blazers, their fourth team foul.
22nd timeout.
22nd timeout taken by the Pacers.
And direct your attention to the center scoreboard.
38 and 4/10 seconds remaining in the first half. Indiana Pacers right at the halfway mark of their season. They're 20 and 21, 4 straight wins. 3 of those wins at home against Miami, the Clippers, and Atlanta. The other game in New York this past Sunday against the Knicks. They've really picked it up defensively, but they've had a letdown here in the first half.
Well, they come up against a team that knows they haven't been playing outstanding basketball. And the Pacers, after winning 10 in a row, there's Donnie Walsh from the Pacer organization, the head of the Pacer organization. And this team, Portland, has a lot of pride. They know they've got to get back on track here. Missing a couple of key guys, and Sabonis and Pippen tonight. So they were determined to come out after some weak performances and play a very good game on the road.
Shot clock at 6. And Rose thought he was fouled. Continues the discussion as the Blazers come up court, and they'll hold for a final shot. Stoudemire regrouping. Down to 10 seconds in the half. Portland has the 14-point lead. Out of 5. 2, 1. Stoudemire would not have counted. Switching hands in midair, went from right to left. Might be some time on the clock. Yes, 0.3 of a second remaining.
Remember, 0.3 of a second or less. It cannot be a possession shot attempt. It must be a tip at the basket of it to count.
Well, they won't even attempt it. Time has run out in this first half. Halftime in Indianapolis, and the Portland Trailblazers leading the Indiana Pacers by the score of 47 to 33.
Offensively, you guys came out with a really good game plan, balanced scoring inside and out, and very patient in your half-court offense.
Yes, we did. The main thing, we came out here and played aggressively. We moved the ball well, and guys hit the shots when they were open.
One of the keys also coming into this game was making sure that you contested every shot that Indiana put up. Did a great job, held them under 40%.
Definitely. Our defense has been going well right now. We're coming out with contesting shots, and we're giving good rotation, so if we can continue to do that, we'll be fine.
All right, Dale, good luck in the second half. Let's go back to you, Marvin. Mike?
Thank you, Cheryl. For Indiana, only 14 points in the second quarter, and they're down by 14 at the half. Now to the studio, go to Ernie Johnson. Ernie?
Yeah, thank you, Marv. It's the AT&T halftime report. Ernie Johnson, Kenny the Jet Smith, Sir Charles Barkley is here, and it's a 47-33 game. The Blazers on top by a couple of touchdowns at Conseco Fieldhouse. You know, Indiana's been playing a lot better. They won 4 in a row. They held 4 teams under 80 points, a franchise record. What's going on with this team tonight?
Well, it's really a difference between watching a youthful team and an experienced team. Now, both of these teams have great ability, and they can score, but it's just how they score is the difference, and that's what the difference between here in Indiana. You've got to break the defense down, then get a tip in and jump over the back of Dale Davis to score. Now, here on the other end, this is Portland. They said, you know what, receive volatile has an advantage. Stoudemire said, give it back to Augment, get it into Rasheed, make the double team. I got a wide open jump shot. It's the baskets come so much easier for an experienced basketball team, and that's the difference.
You know, I'm disappointed because I picked Indiana to win this game. I think they still will come back and win it, but they're playing very flat. Maybe Isaiah's going to go crazy at halftime and get them picked up.
They do look a little lethargic. Looks like they're getting beat to loose balls. Looks like they got heavy feet.
I guess it's different when the Marines in town.
Here we go, the Western Conference again.
The ROTC. We got the Army Reserve, but Marines in town.
Pacers shooting 55%, 21 for 38 in that first half.
You have to look at the two big men inside. Rasheed Wallace, Dale Davis, 9 for 12, 21 points, 8 rebounds between them, and that certainly helps.
Indiana, on the other hand, 13 out of 34, just 38% from the field, and you see the Blazers 16 assists, 21 rebounds in that first half. Moments ago, Cheryl talked with Indiana coach Isaiah Thomas.
Coach, coming into this game, you were very pleased with the team's defense. Unfortunately, you give up 47 points in the first half, 18 in the paint. Where did things break down?
We don't have any energy for some reason tonight. We're very lethargic in terms of our movements, even our offensive pace. You know, we're just not getting into things quickly and smoothly enough. So what we'll try to do is put some guys out there who have some energy out on the floor and just try to scramble things up a little bit, see if we can get back in this game.
You know, considering how well the team had played prior to this game, is it a little disappointing?
Not really. You know, again, we have a young team and you have young guys. And, you know, when you have success, you got to learn how to handle success in this league. And we haven't done a good job in terms of handling our success in terms of this first half. I'm interested to see how well we'll play the second half.
All right, thanks a lot, Coach. Good luck in the second half. Let's go back to you, Mara.
Thank you, Cheryl. The key word, lethargic. Pacers never got going in that first half.
I thought he was very honest and hit it on the money when he mentioned about handling success. They come off a big win in New York. The team is, you know, riding high, obviously, when they come home, feeling pretty good about themselves. And you tend to forget that all of a sudden, you know, we've got to play again back in our building against the team with the second-best record in the NBA.
And they have Portland tonight, and then Sunday afternoon, the 76ers, who are 32-10, coming off the overtime win against the Rockets in Houston last night. Bonzi Wells starting the second half with Damon Stoudemire. Bonzi playing with the 3 fouls. Dale Davis, who had a superb first half, up front with Stacey Augmon and Rasheed Wallace. Here's Wallace. Rasheed Wallace with 13 points.
So by Indiana showing a little extended defensive pressure. They took about 14 seconds off the 24-second clock before the ball got into the hole to Wallace. And then you got a guy like Wallace who can create a shot and make it with, you know, 7 seconds remaining.
And the Pacers need more from Jalen Rose. Very quiet in the first half. Austin Crozier starting the second half. Isaiah Thomas making some moves. He has Crozier and Jeff Foster on the floor. Jermaine O'Neal on front. Foster did a nice job. 10 minutes in the first half at 7 rebounds. A lot of feeling for O'Neal. Loose ball foul on Dale Davis.
If Rasheed Wallace continues to shove the defensive player back with the lower part of his body, that will be called an offensive foul, Benson, by the officials. He's not allowed to take his body and throw it into the defender that way.
Derek McKee and Sam Perkins, who started the game, sitting on the bench here at the beginning of the first half. Together, they accounted for 2 points, 2 rebounds in the first half. Crozier fouled by Altman. That was a difficult shot for Crozier. He was bailed out by Stacey Altman.
Yeah, and he did hit him on the wrist. And, unfortunately, with the clock running down and Austin Crozier falling away, it was not a high percentage shot. And I'm sure if you're Mike Dunleavy right now, you're saying to yourself, will we have enough energy to finish this game off as well as we played the first half? Maybe you're not going to shoot it at quite the same percentage, but they cannot have another fourth quarter like they had against Chicago.
The other night, the Blazers beat the Bulls this past Tuesday night, but the Blazers will a 16-point lead of the second half. Here's Davis looking for the angle, and Dale Davis has 12 points. He is 5 for 6 from the field. Season high 17. He's well above his season average of 7 a game. Here's Rose with some room. He's been off. Crozier off the board. Foul.
It never hurts to pick up a couple offensive rebounds and eventually put you on the line for a potential three-point play. But that's the guy right there, Jalen Rose, who needs to get it going for Indiana. Just 1 for 6 from the floor right now. Follow up the lay-in, now the opportunity for 3 from Austin Crozier.
Austin Crozier, 9 points off the bench. So the Blazer lead is down to 11. Crozier with all 7 points for the Pacers here in the third. 1 of 6 from the field. Stoudemire with the ball fake. Shot clock. Running out. Wells just did get it up. Indiana showing some signs here.
Through the blade, the players were left with really bad decisions. Davis caught it at the top of the circle with 3 seconds left. He didn't want it. He throws it to Bonji with 1 second left. Bonji just had to get it up there.
All right, Rose for three. Again. Way off. But kept alive by O'Neal. Stacey Augmon, excellent defensive player, defending Austin Frozier, forcing the turnover.
I'd make the offensive player do something that's not his best move. That time, by getting to the spot, Augmon forced Frozier to try and reverse the dribble, pull it back while he's on the move. It's tough to do.
Stoudemire asking for the screen. Wells, Boston. Shot clock at 3. Down to 1. Got it off in time.
Augmon passed up the best shot they could have had. It was a 16-footer wide open with 6 seconds left.
Foster with a strong move, rejected by Wallace. Foster, nice play. Jeff Foster, very impressive here tonight. And it leads for a Blazer timeout. And Rasheed Wallace has been hit with a technical foul. Rasheed Wallace leading the NBA with 24 technicals.
What Rasheed Wallace is upset about is on the jump hook by Foster. Watch Foster's left forearm. See if it hits him in the throat as he goes up. No, actually nothing. No contact. There it is. Yep.
Reggie Miller apparently got a piece of Wallace. 20-second timeout is called by the Blazers.
I thought he was upset about an elbow, but it wasn't even playing him. I thought it had come from the offside, but that's not the case.
Rasheed Wallace well in front in the Department of Technical Fouls. That's number 24, followed by Chris Gatling of Cleveland and Karl Malone. And a group of players at 10 apiece. Rasheed Wallace continuing the discussion with the official, Louis Grillo.
He's got to leave it alone now. Yes, Ronas out already, Pippen out already, and he has 1 technical foul. They do not need him to get another technical foul right now.
Reggie Miller, one of the best from the free throw line, able to take advantage. So here are the Pacers down by as many as 18 with an 8 points. Yes, Scottie Pippen sitting out once again, placed on the injured list. So he has now missed 9 of the last 10 games. Arvydas Sabonis sitting out for a second straight game because of back spasms. Wallace, played by O'Neal. Wallace. Foster with another rebound. Foster passing on the outside shot. O'Neal called for step.
On the move, Wallace starts to step in front, moves out of the way just in time, or else the foul would have been called on Rasheed Wallace for blocking.
Illegal defense called against the Pacers for the first time. This game is turned here in the third quarter, led by the combination of Jeff Foster and Austin Frozier, neither starting the game, but they started the second half instead of McKee and Perkins. Play by O'Neal and gets the jump ball. And you can see Rasheed Wallace felt that he was fouled.
I think it's time to rest Rasheed Wallace, because right now he does not have control of himself. As he starts to go up, trying to draw the foul, O'Neal gets a hand on the ball, forces the jump ball. But right now, Wallace has lost control. He's going to get hit with the next technical. He's going to be gone if he keeps it up.
Indiana has done it off the boards. In this third quarter, they've out-rebounded Portland 7-0. And the call by the outside official, Derek Richardson, is to do it again, a poor toss. Louis Grillo over at the scorer's table, adjusting the clock. Adding a second because It's a do-over on the jump ball. 7:37 left in the third quarter. And the Pacers control. This unit has done well. Miller and Rose in the backcourt. O'Neal, Foster, Crozier up front. Davis able to snatch the rebound. Strong game for the former Pacer, Dale Davis. Here's Bonzi Wells. And back comes Rose. Here's Rose. All the way. O'Neal with the tip. And last touch by the Blazers.
Isaiah encouraging his team to push the ball down the floor. Let's get something in transition if we can. Try and catch the Blazers going back in transition defense. Get an easy open look at the basket.
Miller. Oh, O'Neal able to cash it in. The Pacers are within 6. Sean Kemp getting set to come on for Portland. Stoudemire with the crossover. Oh, beautifully done by Damon Stoudemire.
Stoudemire gave them a basket that they desperately needed at this point in the game.
Mike Dunleavy about to make some changes. Steve Smith and Sean Kemp will come on. Here's Rose. Foster with the rebound, but he's called for a travel. He felt that he was involved in a battle for a loose ball, but it's a traveling violation.
Rose just cannot get it to fall. 1 for 9 from the floor right now, and as he pulls it away, the little hop right there is what's called by the officials.
Coming up on 6 minutes remaining in the third. And Portland up by 8. They led by as many as 18. Bombing violation is called for the second time on Stoudemire.
And Stoudemire couldn't decide whether he wanted to pull up and shoot the jumper or continue off the dribble. That hesitation up at the top of the dribble was called the carry.
O'Neal getting possession on Davis. They clear it out. O'Neal reshifted it perfectly by Davis. Well, he saw that one coming. Timeout has been called by the Pacers with 5:55 remaining in the third. The Blazers up 53-45.
I felt really pressured coming in, and even your brother, he's been, I was really kind of nervous about him. I know he wanted some of the guys to be around because they've been together for so long. I really wanted to come in and set a huge impression on, Reggie and also Coach. Those guys have been so good to me. When I first came in, I looked around the locker room, and I tried to find a seat right next to Reggie because I want to know, what he's thinking about. Isaiah's always talking to me, so they've been real big in my transition so far.
Obviously very appreciative of the opportunity that he has received here in Indiana after the 4 years in Portland, where, look, it was benefit gained by both of them. He had a chance to see what it's all about, get a feel for it at 17, 18 years of age, and gain the experience of the big games that the Trailblazers went through. But now he gets an opportunity in a different role. He's a starter with a franchise with a bright future.
Jalen Rose is now 1 for 10 from the field. Another block shot by Dale Davis. That's his 4th rejection. The shot clock showing 1 second remaining. And there's some discussion as to the time remaining on the clock. We will stay at 1. And Rose gets set to inbound. Here it is, Miller for 3. Blazers up 53-45, just under 6 remaining in the third quarter. The Pacers are 4 for 15 from the field in the third, but they have done it off the board, keeping it alive with 6 offensive rebounds. That's what the difference. Here's Smith. Steve Smith with 8 points, and Portland has a 10-point lead.
Very seldom do you ever see Steve Smith playing as if he's out of control. control of what he wants to do on the floor at all times.
Nice follow as Reggie Miller was able to get to the offensive glass and convert. 13 points for Reggie. And the Blazers up by 8. Portland comes in at 31 and 13, most wins in the Western Conference. They come off a win in Chicago, preceded by the horrendous effort against the Cavaliers on Monday night. Crozier open for 3. Yes. Austin Crozier from downtown. He has 12. It's a 5-point Portland lead.
Indiana gets Reggie Miller posted up in transition, send him right to the block with Stoudemire on his back. Portland reacts by double teaming immediately and finds an open man. Hope he makes the shot.
Kemp. And on the back pass, another possession for the Blazers. Dale Davis shooting from all angles and hitting from all angles. Has 14 points.
Would you say that last year is when he stepped up and started making that shot on a regular basis, and as a result wound up making his first All-Star appearance?
Jalen Rose just cannot buy one. Here comes Stoudemire. Smith with room. Altman keeps it alive. Here's Altman. Crozier with another rebound. Miller on the open floor with Stoudemire back. And a foul. It's a reach-in on Stoudemire for the Blazers, their 4th team foul. Rasheed Wallace will check back in. Rasheed was replaced just moments ago by Shawn Kemp. Rasheed was on the edge. He had a technical foul called on him. He persisted. He continued to debate the officials. And finally, Mike Dunleavy took him out of the game.
I think it was an excellent move by Mike Dunleavy. He got him out of it just in the nick of time. Now, hopefully, Wallace has calmed down, can come back in and help contribute, because Indiana's coming on strong against the Blazers right now. The momentum has obviously shifted, and Wallace is a guy who you can throw the ball to down the low post, score himself, or draw a double team and get open shots for other teammates when they need that right now.
Here's Miller. Crozier off the board. Crozier pumps it home. 14 for Crozier, 12 of the 14 here in the third. It's the Blazers 57, the Pacers 52.
Both these teams about even on the glass during the regular season, both averaging about 42 rebounds per game.
Foul on Jermaine O'Neal. Pacers now have a front line of O'Neal with Perkins and Crozier, Miller, and Best in the backcourt. Best coming on for Rose. Jalen Rose, 1 of the 11 from the field. Off the steal, Miller. Blazers stepped away, did not want to commit the foul.
These scorers find ways of putting points on the board. Reggie Miller's last 2 scores, an offensive rebound, follow-up lay-in, a steal from the defensive end that he converts into a fast break layup. You find other ways, not just making layups or jump shots.
Wallace from deep. Rasheed Wallace from straight away with 15 points now. And the Blazers have a 59-54 edge. 2.5 to go in the third. Austin Crozier, who has come on as of late, began the season as a starter, went through a down period. O'Neal is fouled. That puts Portland over the limit. Terry Gorham with the call on Dale Davis. So for Davis, it's 3. Timeout called by Mike Dunleavy. Portland is led by as many as 18 and now clinging to a 5-point lead.
That Reggie Miller has gone into low post area, and he has Damon Stoudemire playing him. So the idea is to take advantage of the size mismatch. Ball goes in, Reggie holds it and reads. Who's going to come and double team, if anybody? Well, with the little man playing the big man, Augman is the guy that will come and try and double team. It leaves Crozier open to move to an open spot on the floor to find the return pass. Reggie finds him, he squares up, knocks down the 3-point shot for Indiana.
Austin Crozier, 5 of 8 from the field, and has done major damage here in the third quarter. How about the turn off the boards? In the first half, Portland had a 21-15 edge. In the third quarter alone, as we watched Jermaine O'Neal at the foul line, a 15-5 edge for the Pacers. Coming up next, right here on TNT, the second half of our doubleheader. Good one coming. Spurs and the Kings. San Antonio Spurs and the Sacramento Kings.
Well, obviously, the Pacers team listens to what Isaiah had to say at halftime. He mentioned to show that there was a lack of energy. Energy, I think, has something to do with rebounding and getting on the glass. You mentioned 15-5 during that third quarter.
And the change right at the start of the third has paid off for the Pacers. Isaiah Thomas opening the second half with Jeff Foster and Austin Crozier. Wallace. And Austin Crozier with rebound number 7. Just under 2 minutes remaining in the third quarter. Indiana has been able to get it to within 3. They're now down by 5. O'Neal with a drop step move. Good play by Wallace, who stepped away. O'Neal was feeling for the contact.
Anticipating the contact. That's why he shot a little bit too hard. So he's going to have to muscle it in there if there was nobody there to muscle again.
Stoudemire. 2 Pacers to the boards with O'Neal able to cover that rebound. They double up on Best. Now Crozier being played by Smith. Goes right at him. Oh, kept alive by O'Neal.
As mentioned, both these teams during the year about even as far as rebounds go. Same with offensive rebounds. Both around 11. 111, 111.7.
Crozier. O'Neal able to wrestle it away from Davis. There's Miller. Nice exchange, and Reggie Miller not able to hit. Crozier lost it.
Boy, Indiana worked so hard to get those extra shots at the basket and just couldn't come up with a bucket.
Seemed like they had the ball for 5 minutes. Wallace. Crozier trying to save it, but stepped out. 28 seconds to go. In this third quarter, Jalen Rose comes on. He'll provide a breather for Austin Crozier. Here's the applause from the crowd. Strong game for Austin Crozier. Mike Dudley does try to insert Sean Kemp. The substitution weighs off. There is a 3-second differential between the shot clock and the game clock with the third quarter winding down. Good defense by Best. The Wallace has to shoot a 3. Final seconds of the quarter. Here's Rose. Jalen Rose with only a second field goal. Hitting at an opportune time. 1.3 to go in the third quarter. The Pacers are within 3. Here's Stoudemire. Rose able to take it away. And that's the end of the third quarter.
When you shoot the ball a little bit too soon, you leave too much time on the clock, and the opponent can come back and get a score at the other end. When you're going for the last shot of the quarter, Portland shot it about 2 or 3 seconds too early that time. It's been hard to come by. Indiana has just gotten a couple here in the third quarter to bring them back into the game. Still not shooting the ball well at all. Portland's cooled off a little bit because the Indiana intensity is picked up at the defensive end of the floor. You can see a 23-12 advantage in points for Indiana.
Blazers with just 12 points in the third quarter. Their low for the season per quarter was 9 in that very forgettable game this past Monday night against the Cavaliers in Cleveland. They set a franchise low with 58 points. They shot 28%. Portland has lost 2 of its last 3 games, so they've had a little dip recently, but overall they have still won 14 of their last 17, and at 31-13 they are on top of the Western Conference with the 31 wins. Off the steal, Smith. It counts the foul to open up the fourth quarter.
That was some play by Steve Smith. He didn't realize the ball was being passed to him by Bonzi at first. Looked up at the last second, knocked it down with his left hand. Then he was going so fast, he figured I might as well just keep going to the basket. Finishes with his left hand. For all those young players out there, that's the reason why you learn to finish with your right and left hand. Both hands give you the opportunity to finish from each side of the basket.
Austin Crozier floor coming on for Jermaine O'Neal, who leads with 10 points. For the Blazers, this their first trip to the foul line in the second half. Steve Smith completes the three-point play. Portland leads 62-56. How about these numbers, Czar, in the third? 18 missed shots in the quarter by Indiana, but 11 offensive rebounds, 5 for O'Neal, and that's why they took command in the third.
One of those times that you say, find another way to win a basketball game besides just trying to score points.
Perkins just did get it off. Greg Anthony back in the game, handling against Travis Best. Anthony and Smith and Wells in a three-guard set now for Mike Dunleavy with Wallace and Kemp, the big man. Kemp posting on Crozier. Let's see if Jalen Rose can get going. He hit a jumper right at the end of the third and continues to have his difficulty. Jalen Rose having one of those nights. 2 for 13 from the field.
Looks like Greg Anthony may have twisted his ankle right there. He jumped forward and hit somebody and pushed him, but there was nobody behind him. When he landed, he may have landed in an awkward position.
And he has had problems with both ankles. Both ankles undergoing surgery. That will count the foul. Greg Anthony coming off the off-season surgery on both ankles.
And Wallace sees the double team coming from Reggie, so he turns away that time, steps inside Austin Crozier to finish off the play. And meanwhile, he's got Bonzi standing at the top of the circle. That's who Reggie left, so he's got the opportunity to pass out to a teammate or try and finish himself.
Foul called on Crozier. That is his third, and Wallace looking for a three-point play.
And Terry gives the official warning. One player from each team, that's it. Enough talking. He's just signaled to the coach that we've had enough. We don't hear any more conversation between the two guys. No more talking, or you're going to see a next technical.
And Rasheed Wallace was told, you are on the verge of the second tee. Picked up his 24th technical of the season earlier tonight. Blazers now lead 65-56. 6-0 run by Portland here in the fourth. Crozier, yes. Austin Crozier, so successful in hitting the outside shot last season. Had his problems at the start of the year and has been showing signs recently. Crozier passed on the three, and Miller being played tightly by Smith. That's the footwork of Crozier putting the move on Captain. Called the foul. Kiki Vandeweghe, who is now an assistant coach with the Dallas Mavericks, who spent quite a bit of time working with Austin Crozier, working on that footwork, which has come a long way in the last couple of years.
Well, what happens, he has 16 points in 19 minutes on the floor. Has knocked out a couple of jumpers now, long-range jumpers, so he brings a guy like Kemp up closer. Kemp has to respect his shot, make him put it on the floor, and then he's got that first step where he goes by and initiates contact.
Austin Crozier in his fourth NBA season out of Providence. Well, Saturday on NBC, it'll be a doubleheader beginning 2:30 Eastern Time in the first game. The Spurs and the Jazz from the Delta Center, Salt Lake City, followed by either the Blazers and the Timberwolves or the Heat and the Magic. That's Saturday on NBC. 9.5 remaining in the fourth. Steve Smith. He's had the touch, 13 for Smith. Portland up 67-59.
So switching assignments now. Kemp on O'Neal, Wallace on Crozier right now. Defensive switch for Portland.
Reggie Miller tossed it out. Blazers have the three-guard alignment with Anthony Wells and Smith. And they're off to the good start here in the fourth quarter. Smith working hard for the shot.
A little too far for the hook that time, so he finished it off with the
Yes, earlier we saw a sweeping hook on the run from Steve Smith. The Blazers open up a 10-point lead. Crozier for three. Comes to Harrington. And a foul. Timeout is being called now with 8.5 to go. In this fourth quarter, the foul was called on Kemp. Portland has a 10-point advantage. More than 18,000 at Conseco Fieldhouse in Indianapolis. A slow start for the Pacers. We heard Isaiah Thomas tell Cheryl Miller at halftime that we were lethargic, nothing happening in the first half. Pacers not able to get going. This is coming off a significant win over the Knicks in New York on Sunday afternoon to make it 4 straight wins. And then they turned it around in the third quarter. Portland led by as many as 18 in the first half. Indiana came within 3. But right now it's a double-digit lead. Portland up by 10 as Al Harrington goes to the foul line. Al Harrington, drafted out of St. Patrick's High School in Elizabeth, New Jersey. 20 years old, will be 21 next month. Well, cuts it to a 9-point lead. Mike Dunleavy staying with the same lineup. Handled things well here in the fourth quarter. Gene Wallace.
Nice baseline screen that time. Rasheed Wallace was wide open. And the moment he caught it, there was no defender within 2 or 3 feet of him. But by the time he caught, turned, and looked, they came flying at him with a block or a change of the shot.
And as Crozier started his dribble away from the ball, a foul. Don Portland. That's 3 on Smith. Blazers have their 13th foul. Pacers have 2. They're trying to cut along the baseline, though. Good job by Anthony staying right with him. Now Miller facing the double. Shoots the 3. With very little room to operate, able to step back and hit from downtown.
You got to give Reggie a lot of credit. He worked hard to get that shot off. He had him posted up, Anthony down low. He drew the double team. He dribbled out behind the three-point line and then knocked the shot down.
There's Kemp, rejected by O'Neal. Low trajectory on that shot by Kemp. Miller changed his mind. Nice pass. Crozier from Rose. And the Pacers are back within 4. The Blazers will talk it over.
Basketball is trying to size things up. You want to take the ball to the middle and let the break form. Normally you have somebody fill the right lane, Harrington fill the left lane on your conventional fast break, and then you want somebody to be the trailer. Miller takes it to the middle of the floor, stops outside the top of the circle. Here's your right lane filled. Here's the left lane filled with Harrington. He sizes up the rim, and there is Crozier, the trailer, looking for the opening. Hit the wing, look across the floor, and find the open man for the dunk, Austin Crozier.
And that capped off a 6-0 run over the last minute. 10 for Indiana. Blazers started the quarter on a 10-3 run. So Indiana moving right back into it, down by only 4. After trailing by as many as 18 in the first half. A holding foul charged to Harrington. So that's 3 on Harrington. 13 foul called on the Pacers. 5 minutes gone by in the fourth quarter. A bit of a late wake-up call here tonight for the Pacers. They turned it in the second half. A bad shot by Bonzi Wells.
Bonzi's pressing a little bit too hard. As Cheryl mentioned at the beginning, there's a lot of people here from his hometown that have come to watch him play. Got a lot of tickets out there. He wants to do well. He got in early foul trouble. He can't make it all up at once now.
Bonzi has been playing so well. Offensive foul With the ball back to Portland, Rose called for his second personal.
Indiana has taken its opportunities at trying to post up Greg Anthony. First it's Reggie Miller, then it's Jalen Rose. And one thing about Greg Anthony, he's a tough customer. He does not back down from it.
Portland playing once again without Scottie Pippen, without Arvydas Sabonis for a second straight game. Foul is called. It is on Miller. That's his second. And number 4 on Indiana.
Reggie is saying that Wallace bumped into him, and then in turn he wound up hitting Steve Smith. The officials feel that Reggie is just trying to get over the top of the screen, initiated the contact.
Miller able to move his way past the screen, following Smith. Now Smith off the dribble. Steve Smith with a very strong performance. He now has 17. Portland leads 71-65.
Remember, this is your former starter who was replaced by Bonzi Wells. So Wells having a terrible night tonight. You get Steve Smith coming back, having a big night for him.
Crozier lost it. Deflected out by Wells. Pacers have 6 on the shot clock. Harrington. Able to inbound to O'Neal. Dane O'Neal way off. Pass for Anthony, broken up and deflected out. Last touch by Rose. So Portland able to maintain possession. Jalen Rose arguing the call, but there's no question that he deflected it out. I don't know who shot it.
The long pass, the collision right there. The ball goes off the shin of Jalen Rose. Good call by the official.
I think Jalen felt that he was run into, that there should have been a foul. And
2 loose cars crashing into each other. That's all.
now best to come on to Harrington. Here's Smith, who is on fire. Steve Smith with 19 points, 9 of 14. Also has 5 rebounds, 5 assists. 11 of the 19 have been scored in the fourth quarter. Blazers up by 8. Miller for 3. Crozier reaching for that rebound, now handled by O'Neal. Rose for 3. Way off the mark. And here's Anthony with Wallace. And a foul is called. Travis Best apologizing to Greg Anthony.
Best taking that foul before Anthony could get the pass off. He knew he was outnumbered, wanted to take the foul before he had an opportunity to pass it to an open teammate.
Looks like he caught him on the chin.
And the officials have called a flagrant foul, I believe. They're going to give him a shot and the ball back again.
Flagrant walk is the call. So Anthony hitting the first, and Portland will also have possession. They have a 9-point lead.
Decision here is, was he playing the ball or just going after the player? And the contact there up high, pretty good call by the official. There was no intent there to just go after the ball. That was an intentional foul on the player's part. When the hard contact player goes down, they're going to call that.
It's all falling for Steve Smith.
And he got a little smile on his face that time because he knew he took a bad shot with the defender's hand right there. He shot it into the front of the rim and still got the bounce and the roll and the basket.
Very friendly rims here at Chico Fieldhouse at both ends. O'Neal. Dane O'Neal is just 4 of 13 against his former team. Wallace and the Blazers.
Jump comes off the bench and has been huge for the Portland Trail Blazers. Give him that high screen, let him turn the corner and keep his dribble alive. It's a layup. Same time, give him another pick and roll. He'll elevate, pull up for that 14-foot jump shot. Then he shows us the old floating jump shot across the middle of the lane. Steve Smith, 10 for 15 from the floor right now.
And Gar, how about 6 for 6 in the fourth quarter? With 13 of his 21 points. Monty Wells stepping into the starting lineup back on December the 29th when Smith was sidelined for a game with a viral infection. And these days, Smith coming off the bench. Rose drawing the foul. In that 14-game run since the 29th of December, the Blazers won 11 of 14. And Bonzi at times has been a rare off night for the young man out of Muncie, Indiana.
No, there's no question that he has played outstanding basketball, but tonight is Steve Smith's night, and this is quite a young man outside the basketball floor. He recently made another donation, this time a $600,000 donation to his former high school, Pershing High School, and it provides scholarships for students from that high school, not athletes, students deservingly to go to Michigan State University where he graduated from.
He's made some extraordinary contributions. And Steve Smith is having a sparkling game here against the Pacers. Blazers now lead 78-67. Coming up on 4 minutes remaining on the 4. Davis. Contact there. No call made as Al Davis with 16 points is one shy of his season high. Davis 7 of 8 from the field, 16 points, 10 rebounds. Jalen Rose going to the left hand. Rose just 3 of 15 from the field.
Yeah, Rose 3 of 15, O'Neal 4 for 13, talking 7 for 28 from those two players.
We saw Jalen have a off performance last week, but he was suffering from an upset stomach. Rare miss for Dale Davis, but Greg Anthony able to get to it. Show you the kind of respect we have for Jalen Rose. We checked with the Pacer bench. Rasheed Wallace with 22. Rasheed was feeling all right. He is. He's fine. But his game has not been tonight. One of those nights. On Anthony off the steal. Here's Bonzi Wells. And the foul is called before the shot attempt. So the Portland Trail Blazers able to settle down, take command after Indiana made the run. And the crowd beginning to file out with just under 3 to go in this fourth quarter. Timeout is being called. It's the Portland Trail Blazers 82, the Indiana Pacers 69. Rapid fast. So the Blazers now lead 84-71. And Portland will be feeling much better following tonight after the terrible loss against the Cavaliers in Cleveland. Not play well last 2 weeks ago. That was in New York, and they came back home for 3 games and barely held on against the Chicago Bulls Tuesday night. But this a solid victory against the Pacer team that has been coming on. Austin Crozier with 21 points. And the foul is called on Jalen Rose. Austin Crozier with a season high with the 21. Indiana Pacers have won 4 straight, 7 of their last 10. They were seeking to reach the 500 mark tonight, and now they will look ahead to the Philadelphia 76ers here on Sunday afternoon. A hand for Dale Davis, who was warmly received during the player introductions. Very popular player here in Indianapolis, and he came through with a solid performance. 7 of 9 from the field, 16 points, 10 rebounds, 4 block shots.
Last game he started for him, 16 points, 12 rebounds. Very consistent for Dale Davis. Also getting their worst free throw shooter off the floor, putting another good free throw shooter on the floor by bringing in Damon Stoudemire.
Mike, we've talked about this in the past, and certainly Mike Dunleavy does not want to see players injured, in particular as he looks ahead to the playoff run. But in some ways, it helps the guys who are available. Crowd looking for a goaltender. Scottie Pippen is out. He was placed on the injured list earlier today. Arvydas Sabonis sitting out for a second straight game because of back spasms. So it makes the problems of the rotation much more manageable. And certainly a guy like Dale Davis doesn't mind getting the playing time. Steve Smith able to resurface because Bonzi Wells got in foul trouble. So the roster is shorter. And tonight things worked out very well.
We have a very deep, talented team the way the Blazers do. From a coaching standpoint, it's tough keeping everyone happy. And the players understand and respect the fact that other good players deserve to need their playing time. But when you do encounter these times in here where 1 or 2 or 3 guys are out because of injuries, as you mentioned, they welcome the additional minutes.
And with Pippen placed on the injury list, Antonio Harvey, a 5-year NBA man, was reactivated. 6'11", 250-pounder who spent some time last year with Portland. The second left on the shot clock. That is a violation with 1:35 remaining in the fourth quarter.
Blazers trying to do a little clock management here, use up as much time as possible. That time they use up a little too much time.
Under 1.5 minutes to go in the game. Travis Best. The Blazers now lead 85-77. What hurt the Pacers tonight, aside from the lackluster play in the first half with no energy, the fact that Jalen Rose could not get into a 3 of 15. Not a good one for Jermaine O'Neal. Has been going so well, but only 4 of 13 tonight. 10 points. Did have 11 rebounds. Just under a minute remaining, and Best is fouled by Wells. Not what the Blazers wanted to do. Stop the clock. And put Travis Best at the foul line.
Understanding that he makes these 2. It's now a 6-point game with almost a minute remaining in the game.
Al Harrington getting set to check back in along with Derek McKee. A rare miss for Travis Best, who is an excellent free throw shooter at 84%. San Antonio Spurs and the Sacramento Kings next here on TNT, the second of our doubleheader.
As soon as this ball comes in, if they don't steal it, you're going to see the Pacers foul. Portland immediately put them on the foul line.
And both teams are over the limit. 85-78. They try to trap Stoudemire. And Wells is fouled. Foul on the cue. Bonzi Wells is not a good free throw shooter at 67%.
See, Wells needs to understand that in those situations, he should have passed the ball ahead to Rasheed Wallace. You had Indiana scrambling around trying to get a guy to foul. You have to foul on the ball. Instead, he holds the ball, so you have one of the worst free throw shooters shooting for you now.
Although Bonzi has hit all 3 tonight, Dale Davis will be in the headlines here tomorrow in the Indianapolis newspaper, singular. Well, Bonzi Wells hits on both, and the Blazers now lead 87-78. Pacers looking for a quick shot. Here's Best. Yes. 87-80. 40 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter. And the foul given by Miller. Damon Stoudemire will go to the line. He's an 85% shooter. Isaiah Thomas chatting it up with Steve Smith. Blazers now lead 88-80.
It's a nice problem to have a 6'8" guard, Steve Smith, that can play, big guard, small forward, shoot the ball from the outside the way he can, go down and post up people, terrific foul shooter, and did a pretty good defensive job tonight, by the way.
And it appears recently that Steve Smith's game is back. Went through that lull Montgomery just said looked like he lost his legs for a while. All right, here's Rose. Right, the left hand. Crozier on the putback. 89-82 Portland. 18 seconds remaining.
You didn't have to go more. Just go for it.
Pressure being shown by Indiana. And the foul is given by Miller, so Stoudemire heads back to the line. Coming up for the Trailblazers, Saturday they'll be at Minnesota. The next Tuesday back home for Chicago, and that begins a stretch of 8 out of 9 at home. This is a team that has spent lots of time on the road. This is their 25th road game in game number 45. And they have, coming into tonight, won 15 and lost 9 on the road.
Well, they've been out here 3 times to the East Coast, and 2 of those trips was in the last 2 weeks. So all of that, you know, changing time zones, away from home, all the builds up. As you mentioned, they've got a bulk of those road games out of the way now.
Portland up 91-82. 15 seconds remaining of the game. Best. Harrington missing on the putback slam. Final seconds. So Stoudemire able to run it out. Well, not quite. With 2 1/10 seconds to go. Foul is given by Rose. And Stoudemire heads back to the line. He's 4 for 4 from the line. Damon Stoudemire looking for points 16 and 17. Get in there, ball, says David. The high point man for the Pacers, Austin Crozier. 21 of his 23 in the second half. That's a career high, 23 points, 10 rebounds.